welcome to Charts and Hearts. I'm Sarah, and she's Lindsay.
And together we're working our way through an epic list of rom-coms in order to find and categorize tropes in the hopes of creating the nerdiest spreadsheet podcasts have ever seen.
And today we're wrapping up our second, I think, Meg Ryan month with Addicted to Love. Oh boy.
Oh boy.
This was an experience.
Yeah. So had you seen this before?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Because I think if I had, I would not have put it on the list.
I definitely thought it was like early 90s, which wouldn't have made it better, but would have made maybe a bit more sense. I don't know.
Maybe a bit more? Yeah, also like the Matthew Broderick of the thing.
Yeah, I think that's probably why I'm confused, because this is 97, so like a year later, You've Got Mail came out, and Godzilla, which is weird. They was definitely trying to make Matthew Broderick happen in the late 90s.
For sure. Yeah. For sure. It just feels late.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is like peak Meg Ryan being quirky.
Yeah.
And yeah,
it's weird because like when her hair is not like all done up to be angsty, it's the same haircut as You've Got Mail, and like watching her in that haircut in this movie is very jarring. Because you're like, this is not the same person.
No, very, very opposite. Yeah, so this is Matthew Broderick plays a guy who somehow is an astronomer at a fancy research lab and also lives in a tiny town in the middle of the country.
And has no problem leaving.
Yeah. And then his girlfriend is a teacher and gets an opportunity to like go do a teachy thing in New York City, and then leaves him for that. Like breaks up with him and won't talk to him. And so instead of like, I don't know, writing her a letter expressing his feelings, or just like feeling his feelings and not putting them on her, he moves to New York, lives like squats in a falling down building and spies on her. And then Meg Ryan comes, because Meg Ryan's ex is the guy that his girlfriend left him for, and she is also trying to like explicitly ruin her ex's life, and the two of them are creepy and stalkery and spy on their exes and then fall in love. And isn't it cute and charming? Yeah.
Like, because I hadn't seen this movie, so when Matthew Broderick leaves to go to New York, I was like, oh, he's gonna go, and it's gonna be creepy that he's like rushing to her door to like beg for her to get back, and then they have to like deal with hijinks of her new boyfriend. And like, that's what I would have expected. Like, that's the trope, right? Of like, small town guy goes to the big city to see his girlfriend who's fallen in love with the big city, basically. And then it's this. Yeah. Like, why? Who thought this was a good idea?
His telescope skills to stalk his ex, and then like, Meg Ryan's character, like,
creepily, both like visually and the audio, creepily stalk, like look at their entire lives, like while they're watching TV, while they're having sex, while both of them are
his
unclothed.
Only activity that he does, that both of them do, is like sitting around and watching their exes just live their life.
Yeah,
in
and
the apartment
listen
across
to them
the street.
talk. It's so fucking creepy.
Yeah, and then they like try to break them up, which like fair enough, because the French guy that she gets together with is a dick. But like, yeah, they like try to break them up by like, you know, breaking into their house, or breaking into their apartment and leaving women's underwear around so that she thinks he's cheating, which it turns out he is cheating. But yeah.
The other ways that they make it look like he's cheating, the monkey thing aside, is very weird and 90s. But the children spraying him with perfume and stuff so that it smells like he's been around women, like that kind of stuff is what you would expect, again, in the normal version of this movie, which is still not great, but it's funny and like full of hijinks. And they're like, oh, look, he's got lipstick on his collar and he smells like a woman. You know, like that harmless fun, but still weird because it's a stranger. But then, no. They go break into his house and do all the stuff and then have sex in their bed.
Yeah. It's weird. And also they try to like ruin the French guy, like the new boyfriend's professional life too. Like they put mice in his restaurant when there's a big reviewer, and Yeah. Oh, and because he gets a job as a dishwasher at the restaurant.
Yeah, he's stalking him doubly.
Yeah, extra stalkery. It's just good. And then, like, they get together in a really unearned way. Like, it's obvious that they're, like, attracted to each other, but then they go from that, like, you know, hating each other, but also having an interest in common and, like, being attracted to each other to, like, being in love. And it's so unearned.
Yeah, and it's just...
Yeah, it's not good. It's not good. So yeah, this is probably going to be a bit of a shorter episode because... okay, any other observations that you would like to share?
Yes. Is this a Home Alone 2 house?
Possibly.
That's the first thing I thought of, because, like, that's the way he gets into it is basically the same way Kevin gets into it in Home Alone 2.
It's very Home Alone style hijinks.
Yeah, and of course it's, like,
movie for adults.
Very dangerous and sketchy when they first get there, and then they, like, spruce it up with whatever. Oh, because they steal his credit card, so that's why they have money. And then it's safe and fine, and they live there, both of them, but where are they sleeping? Where are they peeing? Like,
yeah, like, just is there there must be electricity.
There's electricity somehow. Do they have a fridge?
Running water?
Like, yeah, I just... Blah.
Yeah, it's so gross.
We'll get into Meg Ryan's look when we get to the tropes, but the fact that she makes collages, again, is surprising that it's 1997. I was like, that's a 94, 95 kind of thing, but of course she does. That's how you know she makes edgy art, by, like, ripping up magazines and using their words. Oh.
Yeah. Oh, so quirky.
Like, I'm pretty sure that's the same art that's on Julia Stiles' wall in 10 Things I Hate About You.
Basically. Yeah, so he's a scientist and he does all this, like, data collection, and it's, like, interesting, the data he collects. Like, it's creepy, but it's also interesting the way that they do it. Like,
well, it's like, if it wasn't creepy,
tracks
it would be
her smile,
totally
trying to, like, predict
our thing. Like, that's what we like to do, but not in a creepy way.
But it's so creepy. But then it's, like, completely abandoned and doesn't go anywhere.
Well, it doesn't go anywhere, and also he's wrong, which is, like, again, if this was a better written movie, that's like an exploration into he doesn't actually know Kelly Preston as much as he thinks he does. He doesn't know her. He doesn't know her in her new life. He is obsessed with this girlfriend. The idea of her was idolized him back in the day, and then then she left, and how dare she? Because all she was supposed to do was take care of him.
Yeah, and, like, oh, why would you have career aspirations when you can quit your job and be a stay-at-home wife? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
On the other hand, Kelly Preston's character also is pretty shitty.
Well, yeah, I mean, who goes to New York, leaves their long-term boyfriend after, like, she's not even there for that long.
No, I think it's, like, 6 weeks.
Yeah, so she, like, moves in with the first French guy that she finds.
Yeah, and, like,
she doesn't have to live in, like, shared housing, basically.
And the first time she sends her dad a Dear John letter for Matthew Broderick, like, makes sense, so she doesn't have to go home, even though phones exist. But then her dad flies to New York so she can get him to read a Dear John letter to the French guy as well, of, like, that, like, what?
Yeah. Break up with boys by yourself.
Yeah.
It's an important skill to have.
Yeah, so it's just also of, like, why do we want, not that I want Matthew Broderick to get what he wants, but also why? Why would I want him to get back with this person? Anyway. Yeah. Yeah. Those are my
I don't want him to get anything he wants because he's terrible. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then there's a weird Lassie analogy of, like...
Yeah, that's strange.
It doesn't really make any sense.
And also, like, he was on the plane watching Lassie, but he was able to get off the plane, so I was like, were they playing a movie?
No, I think he, like, got off the plane, got on a different plane and flew back.
I was very confused.
But he also has no money.
I know.
I don't understand.
A job anymore.
No, well,
like, no job prospects.
He was a dishwasher. Yeah, and he, you know, I'm assuming got fired from his
job for leaving it with no notice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and then there's, like, a weird forced thing of, like, Matthew Broderick and Meg Ryan doing, like, photos together. I don't remember how,
because her grandma is there and she has a camera or something.
Yeah, her grandma's there and, like, thinks they're so cute, so they, like, take photos and then she, like, makes them kiss, which we'll talk about that in tropes, but, like, yeah.
Yeah,
then it's, like, he's looking at the photos while he's on the plane and watching Lassie and thinks he has deep thoughts because...
he's on a plane, yeah.
Yeah, well, he's a man in the 90s, so of course his thoughts are profound. Yeah, and also, okay, so spying, it isn't cute, it's stalking.
Yes.
And, like, even if you set up projectors onto sheets all over the abandoned hovel that you're living in and make everything look so quirky and charming and that makes it creepier. It makes it so much worse.
It's so creepy. It's just...
Yep. Okay, tropes.
Okay. Well, we'll start with the one on the bottom, because it's New York, even though we don't see any of New York. We see
hardly
this
anything
block.
Other than, like, cabs. It definitely was not filmed in New York. It was filmed,
like, I don't even think we get a trope shot of the Empire State Building.
No, just
surprising.
New York cabs and, like, abandoned buildings. Yeah. Going after the girl who left you.
Mm-hmm. Very classic. Tough female protagonist, and you know that she's tough because she has dark eyeshadow that she wears and all the time in this
spiky hair.
Lives in this abandoned building, and yet her eyeshadow is perfectly fine all the time.
Yeah. Oh, and she drives a motorcycle.
Of course
she does. Oh, they're very quickly attracted to each other. It's like lust at first sight, but also they kind of hate each other. Mm-hmm. But then they, like, decide to work together to be creepy
stalkers. Yeah. The other guy, the French guy, is a dick. And, like, they set him up, and, like, it goes over the top on this level of stuff that they do to him.
Yeah.
To the point I'm like, this isn't funny anymore. And
no.
But, like, he does deserve some of it. Like, if they had stopped with the quirky, like, you smell like perfume, and you have lipstick on your collar, and so then he admits to cheating and they break up. I'm like, yeah, cool.
Or,
okay,
like,
moving
if
on.
they got actual evidence of him cheating and sent it to her rather than manufacturing evidence of him cheating.
Yes, also would have been fine, but that would have required them leaving their stalker apartment.
Our love interests got forced into, like, close proximity and also kissing.
Mm-hmm. And sudden realization of love. He doesn't technically run back to her, but he does have that realization. And again, this is like, I don't know how much time passes, but not a lot.
It's like maybe a month?
I think so.
It's like kind of a long time in the world of the rom-coms that we've talked about this in, but it's still so short. And, like, they hate each other for most of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay, Lindsay, does this pass the Bechdel test?
No.
No. I don't even know if any female characters talk at all to each other, let alone about not men.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Matthew Broderick becomes friends with French guy, but Kelly Preston never interacts with any of them. Like, not even with Matthew Broderick until the very end.
Yeah.
Like, she's just
like
alone.
The very beginning, sort of.
The very beginning. But yeah, she's just with French guy, and that's it.
And
she's
children.
Just... And children. She is just a prop.
Yeah. Oh, completely. And Meg Ryan doesn't talk to anybody, I guess, other than her grandma, but she's talked to her grandma about Matthew Broderick, and Yep. Okay, let's make a really weird pie.
Yeah. Okay. So, dark eyeshadow.
I mean, it's 1997, so it's got to be like a solid, 20%?
Yeah, like it's 1997, and they're like, we have Meg Ryan, but she's being bad in this, and we can't have America's Sweetheart be bad, so we better give her dark eyeshadow so it's okay.
And lots of gel.
And bobby pins. She has so many bobby pins in her hair, and I don't know what any of them are doing.
They're just like decoration. It was the 90s.
Well, like, yeah, but they weren't like those kind of bobby pins. They were normal.
But yeah, no, they were like to hold parts of her hair flat so that parts of it could be spiky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Lens and, like, video technology that definitely does not work like how they show it working.
Not at all. It's so...
Yeah, like, they get crisp, projectable, like, life-size video from, I don't even know what, a telescope?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, like, 50.
No, I agree. Like, it's obviously, it's the main point of the movie. Yeah.
And you got to be distracted by something, otherwise you just get too mad about the stalkeriness. Yeah,
so scientific diagrams, which he does, especially at the beginning, quite a lot.
Data visualizations.
Yep, you have to know that he's a scientist, so this makes sense that he's doing this then, I guess?
I think it's like they're trying to make it like he's being methodical about getting her back, blah, 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 but it just makes it creepier.
No.
When you do research on human beings, they have to consent to the research. Ugh, gross. Okay. And yeah, projected videos, they're used as, like, exposition and background noise and just so creepy. And probably should be more, but I want them to be less, so 15%.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good. So what's next for these two, do you think?
Ugh. I hope that they make out and then realize that they're both terrible human beings, break up, go back to their lives, and get some therapy. God.
Yes. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope they don't get together or stay together.
No,
I can't imagine it.
I can't imagine they would last. No, I think he goes back and ends up working as a dishwasher in his small town because he left his, like, academic job in the middle of the day, basically.
Yeah.
Which is not how academia works, even if you are a white man in the 90s. So,
can only hope. And Lindsay, what's next for us?
Bonnie Hunt Month. Hooray!
Yay! Our fave.
Yeah. So next up on our feed, which will be next week, because our schedule is a little ooshy right now, we will be doing Return to Me, one of my favorite movies of all time, and not just because David Duchovny is so dreamy.
Yeah, it's going to be so good.
Can't wait.
I'm very excited. Yeah, definitely some shenanigans ahead. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode. Apologies for the Uchi schedule. I'm better now and can talk.
Hooray!
It hurting or hurting you. Don't forget that you can leave us a rating or a review wherever you get your podcast. And you can always find us on social media. We're at Charts and Hearts Podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. And we're at Charts and Hearts on Twitter.
And you can head to our website, chartsandhearts.com, where you can submit your suggestions for rom-coms and tropes to add to the list. And you can check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/chartsandheartsclub. For Meg Ryan Month, we did What Happens Later, which is a weird movie, but it has David Duchovny in it, so it pairs nicely with Return to Me. And for Bonnie Hunt Month, we're doing Jerry Maguire. So that will be interesting.
It will happen.
Don't worry. After this, Patreon movies get so much better. The schedule is on our social somewhere, but so for a sneak peek of what is coming up on Patreon, but also just join us. It's only $2 a month. And soon you'll be able to listen to us talk about some of the best movies of all time. In my opinion, anyway.
I'm excited. Yeah, we'd love to know your thoughts on this movie. If you've seen it, if you also thought it was creepy as all get out. And in the meantime, I don't have to decide the death part right now. I can just wait and see how I feel once his dignity is a thing of the past.